Hello and welcome to the 45 Record Show Review. I'm your host Luke and we're reviewing Ninja Sex Party's album Cool Patrol today. Let's go! Cool Patrol is NSP's 6th studio album, following both of their cover albums over the last 2 years. The majority of the instrumentals were contributed by Tupperware Remix Party and was released on August 17th, 2018 and was preceded by 5 singles to promote the album. I can happily say that this is probably Ninja Sex Party's most musical release, as it seems there's been a greater focus on blending songwriting and songcraft with the comedy, as opposed to just having music playing in the background while they're doing bit sketch comedy. This sentiment was also shared by the band, as they said that they were most proud of the music they had written for this album during one of their pre-order video PSAs. Normally I try to avoid discussing music videos when reviewing albums, but it's difficult to divide NSP from their music videos, as a lot of them are just as essential for understanding and enjoying the songs as the music is, so keep that in mind. The album starts off the same way all of their albums start, with an introduction track with dialogue by Danny Sexbang, the duo's vocalist, thanking everyone for supporting them throughout the years in their work in the most suggestive and sultry way Dan Avidan can manage. The track ends with Danny needing to take a moment because he's a little too turned on by his own metaphors about their appreciation for the fans, so he'll come back in a minute. The first track on the album is the album's namesake, Cool Patrol, following a similar pattern to their last original album, Attitude City. Cool Patrol is essentially an exercise in misdirection. It starts out as a groovy rock track where the band is trying to teach a school kid how not to be bullied, who is vocalized and performed by Jacksepticeye in the music video and on the album. But when the chorus comes around, the track turns into a bubblegummy synth-pop track where they perform an instructional dance that doesn't really seem to be helpful at all. The song bounces between the two feelings until the middle 8 of the song, where it develops into a groovy synth solo that just screams 1980s exercise video. The instructions for the Cool Patrol dance proceed to get more and more ridiculous, adding a decent level of comedy to the track that pairs well with the bipolar styles that the song contains. Orgy, for one, is a pretty straightforward 80s rock song with a heavy dose of synth. The verses are simple and really just build on the lyrics, and the chorus has an arena rock anthemic vibe that makes it feel like a poppier Def Leppard track. The lyrics concern Danny as he's invited a number of girls over for an orgy and none of them seem to show up, and it goes through a Mambo number 5 style list as to why the girls can't make it. Breaking out halfway through is a 70s rock-style guitar solo that feels like it was pulled straight out of an early The Darkness album. You know, The Darkness. That band. The song is pleasant to listen to, with some good harmony during the pre-solo chorus and the outro that reminds me of Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic from The Police, like that bit where Sting layers like 6 vocal tracks all on top of each other. Danny Don't You Know is easily the best track on the album, and I feel like it might be their best work yet. It is the least funny track on the album, but that isn't a mark against it. The song starts out as a melodic power ballady jam where an older Danny is serenading his younger self in a what would you tell your teenage self style letter that really holds a powerful message, which is kind of new for the band. After about 2 minutes, the song breaks into a heavier, more powerful verse and chorus, which has a ripping guitar solo and contains some of Dan Avidan's best harmony work. I listened to the song just for his 4-part harmony during the end of the last chorus. It's so nice. It's so nice. It seems like they've found a way to be funny, rock, and provide a genuine message in their work all at the same time, which is amazing for them. Also, shout out to Finn Wolfhard for being younger Danny Sexbang in that music video. He of Calpurnia and Stranger Things. While I was watching the music video, I was like, is that Finn Wolfhard? No, that can't be. That's not Finn Wolfhard. Oh my god, that's Finn Wolfhard. Release the Kraken harkens back to old NSP, where their tracks were about nerdy fantasy battles and mythical creatures. The track itself is a pretty standard hard rock, easy listening metal backing track, where Danny paints a picture of 2 armies fighting, and one faction summoning the Kraken as their ace in the hole, but the Kraken winds up not really doing much, and pretty much dooms them. The track's quite good. Comedy doesn't hit its mark as well with that visual representation. The track feels like it needs a music video to really make it funny, as the joke the song revolves around is really a visual gag that doesn't translate as well to an auditory medium. My opinion on this might change if they release a music video for it. Ninja Brian Goes to Soccer Practice is a pure comedy bit that contains a characterizing of Ninja Brian as a psychopath that kills everyone. They've used this joke before. It's still funny, but there's nothing new to it. First Date goes back to the 80s pop metal vibe that isn't too adventurous in its writing, but it nicely frames the lyrics about Danny taking a girl out on a date, which turns into an insane crime spree, punctuated with some dialogue from Danny about how much he's enjoying their date. The comedy in the song works out well with the anthemic feeling of the chorus mixed with the profanity while the duo is committing crimes. It's very entertaining, and it makes you feel less bad about singing along to a chorus about killing 5 guys tonight. Let's kill 5 guys tonight! Let's kill 10 guys tonight! Oh, wait, maybe we should pump the brakes. That's a lot of dudes. Smooth Talkin' is easily the cleverest track on the album, where for about 2.5 minutes, Danny describes how he's going to pleasure his chosen lady without ever using any proper or slang terms for any parts of the body or any sexual acts. It's a clever use of euphemism and nonsense words that gives you an exact idea of what the song is about without needing to actually articulate it. The song also pokes fun at the style of funk and jazz it's emulating when Danny is interrupted not once, but twice by a horn and guitar solo during the song that kind of reminds me of times when I've come in early singing along with some of my favorite songs. Heart Boner is apparently the second part of the Boner trilogy as defined by its subtitle. Gonna be honest, I don't know what part 1 was. I found Heart Boner to be the low point of the album. Like, it's a relatively generic pop rock love song, which normally would be fine for NSP as the lyrics would be the focus. Sadly, I find the lyrics are not terribly imaginative. It's just very blunt, and it's full of unimaginative euphemisms for erections and ejaculations describing his love for this girl. Heart Boner never really gets any more complex from there. The instrumental is pretty lush in its production and arrangement, but it just feels uninspired compared to the rest of the album. It just seems like they needed a ballad love song on the album, and this is what they wrote. It's disappointing because Smooth Talking is so clever in its lyrics, it almost seems like they used up all of their good sex jokes on it and had nothing left for Heart Boner. The bridge also sounds like Coldplay, which might be why I don't like it, but regardless, no matter how sexy Danny Sexbang is, no adult man should be saying tee-hee like a little girl on a record. It just comes off as creepy. I'm sorry, it comes off as creepy. There's no time that's okay. Romance Novel's an okay track. The album seems to fall off a bit after the midway point of the album. The track is simply Danny reading an excerpt from his in-progress erotica novel that really is just a one-note joke that is funny, but the fact that the punchline has to be telegraphed twice through the song takes away from the payoff at the end. I'm talking about Brian throwing the piano at him. That's the punchline. Eating Food in the Shower, I feel, is one of the more underrated tracks on the album. The instrumental is driving and groovy, with a chorus I find to be infectious. The lyrics are quite ridiculous, and it might be where it loses fans because it is also a one-note joke. The joke never really develops, it more just rehashes itself between choruses. They're eating food in the shower, it's awkward, he's trying to save time, he's trying to bone this girl, yada yada yada. I think the reason why I like it so much is because of the instrumental, but I could pass on the lyrics, though Avidan's lyrical performance is still very good on this. Just because the lyrics aren't as imaginative, that doesn't mean that the singing isn't as good. Courtship of the Mermaid feels like classic NSP. It's a medieval-style ballad about Danny trying to woo a mermaid in a similar vein to Peppermint Creams from Attitude City. The track is lovely to listen to, as it is poetic and well-crafted, with flute and harpsichord, which is crashed through in the first chorus as Danny ruins the tender ballad with screaming about pizza. The tail of the song's lyric is entertaining, that seamlessly fits into the NSP mythos and almost feels like Queen for a second during the second chorus. The song ends with NSP's usual comedy dialogue delivery, which is a good way to end it. There wasn't a whole lot of it on the album, so it's nice to have that little bit of just Danny rambling, and I'm not sure if it's ad-libbed, but it feels kind of like they're riffing in the studio, and this is what he comes up with. GFY is a funny short little track that evokes feels of high school marching bands. I feel like the song should be part of any marching band's roster. The song is essentially Danny telling a guy to go fuck himself in a manner similar to cheerleaders spelling out cheers for a crowd to chant back. I'm expecting this to be a fan favorite live, as a crowd chanting that is comedy unto itself. Mansion Party is a great classic funk style track. It kinda almost feels a little feels like Rick James, where Danny spends most of his time explaining why this girl should be impressed with all the stuff he claims to own while butchering metaphors about how cool he is. It has some of the more clever and best-suited lyrics in the album. In true NSP fashion, the lyrics take an about-face when Danny's battle pandas escape and begin killing the guests at the party. Though Danny is watching this horrifying display, he can't help but be excited about how cool the party is. There's a point where he literally says, "This party's so awesome!" And it's just so entertaining to hear him geeking out inside at the fact that in the story of the song, there's pandas killing people. To be fair, that is pretty awesome. But no matter how ridiculous the lyrics get, the groove never stops and it is never taken away from, which lends itself to the song. The album ends, like all other original NSP albums, with an outro where Danny once again thanks everyone for listening while trying to hit on the listener and buggers up a foreign phrase for comedic effect. Overall, Cool Patrol is a good album. There are a lot of good and fun tracks that feel more crafted and less rambly than many of NSP's classic tracks. The album is very front-loaded, though, as I feel spreading out the singles in the album might have made for a more balanced listening experience, as I do feel a dip in energy towards the second half of the album. Besides Heart Boner and a few other comedy tracks really being just one-note jokes, the album is easily their best work, and I feel like they have every right to be as proud of it as they are. Twerp adds a lot to the instrumentals, keeping the vibes of 80s rock, synth pop, and funk to the songs, and Danny's harmonies and deliveries above par from the rest of their discography. It's easily up there. Cool Patrol is a solid 8. Give it a listen if you haven't heard NSP before. If you have, you'll enjoy it. It's a good NSP album. What did you think of the album? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you think I have no idea what I'm talking about? Tell me what you thought about the album down below in the comments. Let me know what I should check out or review next. This has been the 45 Record Show Review. Remember to subscribe for more music coverage and reviews, and check out our 45-second single reviews over here. Yes, over here, where I rate singles in 45 seconds or less. It's a lot of fun.